Do I think the church has failed in engaging the topic of race overall? Universally, yes. I believe that the civil rights movement was simultaneously one of the best and worst things that could have happened to the church. Best for obvious reasons. Worst because it was led by the African American church. So the universal church preaches love and peace and grace, and all men are made in the Lord's image, and they'll know we're Christians by the way that we love each other. But when a particular group of people is being demeaned and told that they're inferior over decades and generations, and finally, a group of African Americans decide to take a stand, the African American church, people like Martin Luther King Jr., and the list goes on and on. There did not seem to be, at least from what I read, a linking arms of the universal church. You're going to find your spots of like, oh yeah, there was some priests that showed up in Selma and da. But the continual and consistent stance of like, no, we're standing with them from the universal church just didn't seem to happen. And I think the same thing is starting to happen now. It's kind of like, this problem isn't necessarily at my doorstep if I am not an African American. So the sentence is, hey, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Like, hey, I'll take all those thoughts. I'll take all of those prayers as well. But if we are really intent on fleshing out what we see in the scriptures, then we need to be what we're told that we are, and that's the hands and the feet of Jesus. Those are demonstrative action things. It's not just like, oh yeah, I wake up, I pray. I saw a video today, I'm gonna stop and pray. I want you to continue to do that because prayer is a powerful thing. But I also want you to stand with us. I want you to be vocal. I want you to vote in a way that stops these things from happening. I want the problem of the African American to be your problem as well, because the root issue, and I'm not dismissing racism, but the root issue is sin. And the sin being fleshed out through hatred, the hatred being fleshed out through racism. So there's that, kind of domino thing. But everybody got a sin problem, So for you to say like, hey, nope, I'm not African American, it's not at my doorstep. I don't think that the church, they haven't done the best job that they can. We haven't done the best job that we can in addressing this issue. Because it's still very divided, even in the way it's being addressed. Black Lives Matter is being screamed primarily by African Americans. Whereas if it's like, hey man, we're standing together as brothers and sisters in Christ, it should be being screamed by every Christian, in the world. So harsh reality, also my subjective opinion, but I don't think the church has done the best job in addressing that issue.